me God.
So help 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 me God.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rob Lee. I am a doctoral candidate at Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley, California. I am also doing this podcast, So Help Me Pod. And some of you may be unfamiliar with where the podcast gets its name. So Help Me Pod is a play on words that changes the word God to pod. And So Help Me God is a portion of the oath of office for President of the United States that is not prescribed by the United States Constitution, but has nonetheless been used by presidents dating back to George Washington, according to historical and eyewitness accounts. So what is this oath of office? What do we know about it? What does it do? Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution dictates that before assuming office, a new president must take the oath of office before carrying out official duties of the office. And a sitting president must take the oath to incur the powers for a second term in office. The oath of office states, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The oath is to be taken in public on January 20th, unless the 20th falls on a Sunday. In that case, the president will take the oath in a private ceremony on the 20th, with a public swearing in on Monday the 21st. Most presidents have been sworn into office in Washington, D.C., but that is not always the case. President Washington was sworn into office in New York, as Washington, D.C. was still a dream. Calvin Coolidge was sworn in by his father, a notary public in Plymouth Notch, Vermont, upon the death of President Warren G. Harding. President Lyndon Baines Johnson was sworn in on Air Force One by federal judge Sarah T. Hughes, the only woman to administer the oath of office, after the assassination of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Jacqueline Kennedy, the First Lady, the slain president's wife, looked on. Interesting, to me at least, the oath has the option to affirm instead of swear, as some Christian denominations, such as the Quakers, specifically prohibit swearing oaths or allegiances to anything or anyone other than God. That said, the two Quaker presidents, President Herbert Hoover and President Richard Nixon, both swore the oath of office. Franklin Pierce remains the only president to have elected to affirm rather than to swear. Presidents since Washington have chosen to use a Bible for swearing in, but that has not always been the case. Presidents Jefferson, Quincy Adams, Theodore Roosevelt, and Calvin Coolidge did not use a Bible. Again, President Lyndon B. Johnson used a Roman Catholic missal that was aboard Air Force One, mistaking it for a Bible in the fray following the assassination of his predecessor. There have been gaffes in the presidential oath of office. Most recently, John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, the current Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, accidentally flubbed President Barack Obama's first official swearing in and did a second swearing in just to make sure that it took. It was quite a moment for those of us paying attention to oath, lore, and history. But it is not the first time that there has been a flub in all of this. They go back to Dwight Eisenhower and Harry S. Truman and William Howard Taft, William Howard Taft actually has the unique responsibility of not only being sworn in as president, but also would later swear in presidents as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. All that's to say, there's so much history, there's so much interesting facts surrounding these realities that we sometimes take for granted or don't even know about. I would encourage you, if you want more information, to do some research on your own. There's fabulous resources out there, and we'll link some to you. Also, you can check out on our website, www.roblee4.com/presidents, and see the database of faith and presidential policy and the ways that all of these things are intersecting together. Anyway, I hope this helps clarify the title of our podcast. The wonderful intro was done by my wife, Stephanie Lee. She also did the cover artwork that you see on your screens for this podcast. And for that, I am forever grateful. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye. You've been listening to So Help Me Pod, a podcast of Beloved Journal in conjunction with Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley, California. The podcast is offered in partial completion of the Doctor of Ministry degree for the Reverend Robert W. Lee. All opinions and insights offered are solely owned by that of those who offered them and do not reflect the views of stakeholders in the project. There have been 45 men and 46 presidential administrations, all of them unique. Some of them have been more interesting than others, some of them more terrifying than others. All have been part of the grand expression of democracy on the North American continent and part of the wider conversation of self-governance in the world. These men have failed profoundly, and we have failed profoundly in following their leadership along with our own sometimes antiquated and backwards ways of viewing and acting in the world. That said, this form of leadership is unlike few other, and the greatest gift we have has been given in the ways in which the American experiment continues to prosper despite our terrible misgivings. We are better off because of these men, and we are forever in their debt. For more information, visit www.roblee4.com/presidents.